we understand, what are you doing in this movie? You're not an actor.
No, makes you wonder, doesn't it? What am I doing? I'm the chief baddie. I'm the boss of all those guys you saw with the really exotic costumes. I'm their boss. Yeah, they're all bad, but I'm badder.
You're the baddest, right?
Yeah, I'm the baddest, and you remember that too.
Not to look like an army broad front. You've got to be doing a marauding driving sequence, which is roaring up, roaring back, you know, just adjusting around, but basically holding that kind of line. That sort of, you understand what I mean by the amount of up and down as against holding a steady line. If you hold a steady line, it'll look a bit set up. Any questions on that?
Stunts are safe. It's the roads. The roads are very unsafe because, you see, in a stunt, you might have seen this morning, there's all of those vehicles and they're all sort of set up. This one has to go that way, that one that way, and each person knows pretty well what the other one's going to do. Whereas you get out on the road and you don't have a clue what that character coming out of it, anything can happen. But in a stunt, you can set it up and it can be quite safe.
George, tell us about your formation. You were meant to be a doctor, no?
Yes, I finished, when I finished at medical school, I had I had about 3 months before I was to work in a hospital, and so, and by chance I happened to go to a 1-month film workshop where I met my partner, Byron Kennedy, and we started making experimental films then, back in 1971. And that's basically we learned on the job by making little films. The main thing about, two things about being a doctor and making films. The first thing was that a doctor tends to be an observer of life, and I think a filmmaker, I don't think that's a healthy thing, but you tend to observe things and help your observation. And second of all, it kept me from making films for a long time, because at the time I didn't think there was an opportunity to make films.
That was my first job, very first job. I was a kid, and it was a nice day. I just went in and met Mr. Miller, and he offered me a job. So it was as easy as that. I sort of came up through the ranks of theatre in the provinces, places like South Australia, Adelaide, which they call the Athens of Australia, and sort of hit it out that way. And then I just got a couple of jobs on some flicks, and that was it.
Would you like to live in the Mad Max world?
No. I live in it when I'm doing the part. I've lived it already. No.
Tell us about the entity, Tina. She's a goddess, she's a bad woman, I think. Tell us about your role.
I have lived her life. I didn't build a town, but I basically build a life for myself after my divorce. Building is building. She built more of an empire, her little town. I built another type of empire for myself personally. There's definitely a connection.
You can run, but you can't hide.
2 days ago, I saw a vehicle that had hauled that tanker. You want to get out of here? You talk to me.
Do you feel the road warrior image is hard to leave?
Well, it comes off in the shower at night. But I suppose there's a fear, as there would be with any actor, that you could easily be pigeonholed or categorized into or trapped into that one thing. But I've taken careful measures to ensure that that doesn't happen, mainly by doing lots of other jobs in between. And luckily, they're always spaced about 3 or 4 years apart, so.
Okay, I'll try.
This time, maybe have Tina do it for you. This is here? Yes, sir. Fantastic.
I thought acting as a singer would be very much as doing lines or becoming a character, but I find the difference is if Tina Turner sings a song, she makes it as much as Tina Turner. But Tina Turner has nothing to do with entity. My personality and my performance has nothing to do with the woman, the part that I'm playing now. That's never a part of my show performance that I am doing as an actress. I find it's a total difference when it really comes to the work.
You open up, you can see through there. That's the opening frame. That's the size you want to start on.
Right.
Can you see
Just
the
the
picture?
feet.
Push your eye, won't affect your makeup. Now, you'll be driving. Now, can you see my legs or can you see me? Your what? Yeah, well, we start there. Now we will tilt up to see your face.
Yes, we should do it.
Huh?
I don't think anyone could have played the part better than Tina Turner. I'm not speaking egotistically. I mean, it's just a part not for a very soft lady. I'm a lady, but within the bounds of whatever is needed as well. But yes, absolutely a strong woman. Congratulations. You're the first to survive the audition.
Did you ask for a change in the script, for example, I don't want to die, things like that?
No, I just said, can I kill someone?
She is the queen, and I am the general. And anything she says, I just get these guys. Can we have a look at one of those guys over there? I've got about 50 of them guys, and they'll do anything I tell them. So if Aunty wants this whole place demolished, all I got to do is say demolish, and they'll demolish.
But somebody said me that you were planning a duo record with Tina Turner. It's not
No. Actually, I was thinking we could do a remake of These Boots Are Made for Walking.
a giant clam.
It just feels good.
Run back.
You have to phone up back. You pull right back then.
Yeah.
I'm still on the deck.
Get that pose.
We'll just try that in a second. It might be good. Okay, Stuart.
Would you like to do a comedy, for example, one day?
Oh, yeah, sure. I think this is a comedy.
George Miller knows.
George Miller does know, and I think he thinks it's funny too. I think there's a lot to laugh at in these films. I mean, they're so black, in a way. They're really nihilistic. I suppose that's why people sort of, I mean, the nihilistic tones of the music of the 80s really is sort of, and you look at the rock clips and there's a lot of this kind of stuff creeping in. I think that last film influenced a lot of it, but underneath it all, I think you can actually see that whoever is behind it is having a little joke. And I'm certainly having a big laugh, so.
We're gonna count to 3. 1.
What happened to you? This is a stick-up! Anybody moves, and the dead mate!
Do you agree with the moral views of Max? You know, he has a very precise moral ethics.
Oh yeah, he's got his own code of ethics. They're not mine, but they work for him in that terrible world he's in.
Yeah.
One day we were talking generally about Mad Max, and we started talking about a story, and suddenly we realized we had the beginnings of a story. And I was with Terry actually, and one time I was having dinner with him in a restaurant, and he started to talk about a story, and I suddenly said, "Oh my God, that's Mad Max 3. I mean, we have a story there." And so we worked on it for about 18 months.
I'm sick of going along to movies and being bored, sitting there thinking, oh no, how long to go, you know? So I think there's a real demand for high-paced stories. Maybe that's what we can offer. The first one was a very bleak revenge story. I don't think that George particularly enjoys, now looking back, the sensibilities captured in that film. The second one was a more generous film. The third one is a journey about a man being rehumanized. It has to have, as you know, sort of more positive values. there was a lot of feeling that the score for the film should have been a rock score instead of a symphonic score. I actually don't agree with that. I think that the movie's rock and roll, and it's good to have that symphonic element through it. But yeah, Angry Anderson, Tina Turner, a few other rock and rollers were interested in being in it. I've heard rumours that Billy Idol was wanted to be part of it.
I fell in love with Mad Max tragically from the first movie. I was determined to get into this one. And I said to my management, I said, I don't care what you've got to do. I said, we've got to pay them money, you know. You've got to get me into this movie, see? So my management, who have for maybe 3 or 4 years thought that I should go into movies, and I'm not really keen to go into movies. I just want to be in this one because it's Mad Max.
He's bad, he's beautiful, he's crazy. It's the man with no name.
Mel Gibson is a lone warrior in a world gone mad.
I think he might be the one.
But he's just a raggedy man.
He is the one they call hero.
You that good?
Mad Max, Beyond Thunderdome.
Congratulations. You're the first to survive the audition.
These are the children who worship him.
We're the waiting ones.
Waiting for what?
Waiting for you.
He is their only hope.
It's him. We're going home.
In a world where she is the only power.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
We're ready now. Take us home.
Who do you think I am?
And I say that this man has broken the law.
3 seconds, break neck.
This is it! Bring him back to me, alive!
For those who took him, no mercy.
So what's the plan? Plan? There ain't no plan.
Death's found you, soldier. She's gonna take you like a lover. There's not enough runway.
America wasn't good for us. The band went over very well, but the business side wasn't good for us, and we didn't feel that we got enough support from the record company, and the pressure's become very, very great on the band, and the band broke up in America. We had to come back here to Australia to find other Australians to play in the band, because I didn't want to have Americans in the band.
Why don't you try to do a record sometimes?
A record? Yeah. A record? Yeah, why not? I wouldn't like to stick my name on it. I'd like it to be anonymous, like, you know, get a name like the man with a black mask or something.
People complain or ask why the soundtrack of Mad Max are not rock and roll music, because you are a rock fan, you love rock and roll, Mad Max is rock and roll, and then the movie music is symphonic.
Well, the problem with rock and roll music is that to play music, unless it's constructed like a symphony, the sequences don't work. And so even though we've tried and we've thought about doing rock and roll for the scores of Mad Max picture, I don't think it would work.
Wouldn't you like to do a clip someday?
Oh, I'd love to do a rock clip. I think it's, in fact, I've tried to get the time to do it, I just haven't had the time to do one. But I'd absolutely love to do one again.
What is your favorite rock band in Australia? You, personally?
It'd have to be Midnight Oil, I guess. In Australia, but I know, I mean, you know, I was a great Rolling Stones sort of fan as a kid, and I just can't get them out of my blood, you know.
You love rock and roll music, and if yes, do you have a favorite band?
No. I don't have a favorite band. I don't have favorite bands or favorite actors or favorite directors or anything like that. I mean, everyone is so different. How can you possibly compare them? There are people that I don't like, but there are many people that I admire as well. But you can't put one ahead of the other. I do like rock and roll music.
About 25 strong at the moment, and they've come from all over the country. And the idea is that it isn't the kind of situation where you just get craziness on screen. In this kind of situation, to keep 26 or 28 stunt people working and not have any accidents, because that's the prime interest of a crew making an action film, is to get all the action on screen and get it really well, and use professionals so you get it safely, because we can get it safely. I mean, all the mayhem you see on Mad Max 1, Mad Max 2, and particularly on Mad Max 3, is all going to be, cross our fingers, and so far to now, without any injuries at all.
Look out.
We don't show any violence. We don't do any of the surgical shots, any of the knife going in. I think that people tend to confuse violence with a feeling of fear and all of those things. I can honestly tell you, because I've seen the Mad Max pictures on the editing bench so many times, there are very, very few shots which could in any way be construed as gory. What it does have is an enormous pace in the cutting, and we seek to put audiences through intense emotional experiences. If you don't want an intense emotional experience, go to sleep, you know. But when people go into the cinema there, you have to confront them. You have to bam, 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 like that. I don't personally like films where you see people's heads being blown off or their heart sort of being ripped out, that style of thing. They're tough films, there's no doubt of that. But we couldn't have a post-apocalyptic world with people going around saying, "Excuse me, would you mind if I took your vehicle?" They just don't work like that, you know.
Do you sometimes watch the old videos of Mad Max 1 and 2?
Oh, yeah, I've seen them on video, you know.
What are your favorite parts?
Favorite parts? This is going to sound really sick, but I laugh my head off when I see people getting their fingers cut off and things. I think it's... I just think it's really clever the way that they can present that image and never hurt anyone. Except maybe scar a few minds in the audience, I don't know.
For French people, Australia is outback. People killing kangaroos, drinking beer, and it's Mad Max. People crashing cars for the desert.
And the Capricorn, you know, with people coming from England because he was in jail.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's Australia for us.
Is this Australia?
No, that's, I think the biggest disservice that the Mad Max films have done for Australia is make everyone who doesn't know much about Australia think that it's like that. And as you see when you go to the cities, it's not like that at all.
Mel, do you feel Australian as an actor? Do you feel you are making something for Australia with the Mad Max movie?
With these films?
Yeah.
I don't look at it that way. I don't look at it as an Australian product. I just look at it as a good one. I'm not sort of hooked into working here, as I don't think I should be. I don't think an artist should have boundaries like that. I just like it because it's good. And it's good for the Australian film industry. It certainly shows their expertise, and they're as good as any place in the world. Better than some. But, no, and I don't feel Australian either, but I don't feel American because I'm a hybrid, you see.
Yeah.
And I feel like a hybrid. But that's good, I like that.
Side the road, camera left.
I'm gonna lie down.
Yeah, I think we have to stand by. Yeah.
All right, standing there.
Rolling. Down rolling. Camera rolling. Market. 6 set.
4:45, take 4.
And action.
Well, ain't we a pair, Raggedy Man?
Somebody asked me that, will you do a Mad Max 3? And I said, no, never. I'll never do a Mad Max 3, but here I am. And the only reason for doing it is because it's simply better. You know, what they're trying to achieve is something much better. I mean, it's really boring doing the same thing over and over. I mean, this film is a lot different from the other two. It's very much the same. It still has that hard-edged sort of thing running through it, but they've managed to use that sort of hard-edged, nihilistic view of life and this miserable world of Mad Max 3. They've used that as a vehicle to get to something a little more hopeful at the end of this. And I think it says a lot of things. I mean, I'm all for romance. I think we should get back to more romance, you know, in music, in films and everything.
Every guard has a choice of weapon. In this case, the tonfa, defense against swords. Blow here, a reply, and so on. It can also be used for hooking things. The other is the handgun. So a bit further away. At 200 meters, I can stop a truck with this weapon. And of course a knife, which stays hidden.
Bernard, can you tell us when you started to get involved in Mad Max, doing the costumes?
For Mad Max 2. I met George before, and when he was starting, he called me up and I came out to work on it.
I've never read the rock group.
No. Yeah, but rock groups aren't that creative with their clothes. Until they see it, then they do it. I find them normally very conservative to work with.
Can you describe these costumes? What are they made of? Is it...
This part's made out of gristle, goat hair, and horse hair. And this is motocross, equestrian, this is gridiron, mud flaps for a car, part of a car. These are just, I don't know, medals that men give to each other in clubs. And this is Masonic men's things. They're all to do with men. There's nothing female about their costume.
The belt?
The belt is a kidney belt for protecting your kidneys when you're riding a motorbike. This is off a car. These are reflectors. This is a little female for vanity, because these boys are very vain. This is, I'm not quite sure which, I've forgotten which one this is, but it's some sports protective wear. These are sports protective. And this is off a car, this one. And this is a cow tail with a horse tail.
So you gentlemen have a face under that mask?
Yeah. Well, reveal your face with it.
Oh, Christ, and I'm not that blue. No, come on. I got even blue down.
a surprise.
It's not over you, Tina.
I haven't even looked at
Dramatics
it.
as well.
Tina Turner.
We've got to blow the candles out. Somebody got a match? Here we go. One each. You've only got to blow a candle each out.
This weekend.
This weekend.
26th. Let's go. Now you have to sing it. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Okay, as you know, I'm leaving tomorrow, and I really have to say that it's been on the desert, but this has been the most exciting time, I think, in my entire life. This is really better than a hit record. And also, I got to say that I really had great vibes from everybody. It's really a great group of people. I'm really happy to be able to do my first movie with everybody that I really and truly like and care about. And I want to thank you for helping to make it really comfortable and a wonderful time. I believe in God, yes. Not as man, as power.
Well, there we go.
And the forces. I'm very universal when it comes to that law. I think the power comes from the power of the universe out there. It's unknown. You have to find it. You have to find the connection. And what that connection is us. We are a little universe here. It's all inside of us. And how we manifest that nature in ourselves to bring out the God that we are. Sometimes it's very difficult for people to understand that because they want to make it someone else to give the answers, and it was all inside. Yes, I believe in God because I believe in myself.
Max is quite a man's world. There is not many women around, or they get killed very, very soon, like in Mad Max 2. People resent that. Why? Because Australia doesn't get many women, or?
No, I don't know why that is. I think that it's just that because it's set in a post-apocalyptic world, you tend to think that the latent brutality in men will come out and that they are more likely to survive in that style of world. Now, that could be totally wrong, I suppose, you know. You've only got to look at Margaret Thatcher and you would find a lot of brutal women. No, I don't have any children of my own, and I worked it out. We had 52 children for 2 weeks. I think that equals 1 child for life.
May I ask you your name, young lady?
Justine.
What is your name in the movie Mad Max 3?
And a goanna.
What is a goanna?
A goanna's like, it's like a big lizard. It's a bit longer. Usually goanna's about that big, and they sort of blend in with the colour of the desert.
Because you live in the desert, right?
Yeah. Well, Anagowana lives in a crack in the earth. Like, it's all really pretty with trees and greenery everywhere.
You saved Mad Max life, I guess.
Yeah, sort of. I don't really, but well, we help along the way.
Is it great walking dressed like that?
Yeah, it's unreal fun. I love it.
Do you think it's gonna be the new fashion?
I think so. In a couple of years' time, everyone will be walking around in animal skins.
Et Jean-Pierre, tout le monde en France va croire que cet enfant est paralysé. Everything in France will think you're crippled. Stand up, show them.
Oh, miracle!
one of the things that I guess I was less happy with in Mad Max 2 was probably the cars. I think that they look too much like street cars. In this one, what we've tried to do is to make the vehicles look like they have grown out of the environment. And the production designer, Graham Walker, has done a wonderful job in making them look reptilian. And when you see high-angle shots down on the cars, they look like these bizarre, rusted little bugs crawling over this landscape. It's quite terrific. I'm very happy with them.
You would have been doing a fair clip when you hit that. You would have just gone, woo!
And as I hit, the back swung around. And I had a car run from me, so...
Jesus.
It's pretty tricky.
How were you? All right,
Yeah.
a bit worried during it, a little bit.
Well, I don't really have time to think about it, really.
Yeah.
Does your wife double Tina Turner because it's very dangerous or because it's not at all?
Well, as a matter of fact, because she's a very good stunt woman. I must admit, I go through hell when she's doing stunts, but at the same time, because there's just that thing of watching somebody else doing it, the responsibility of having set them up.
Tell us about your Twilight Zone experience when you went to America. Didn't you fear that Hollywood might get a grip on you and suck you inside this strange world?
The Twilight Zone of Hollywood isn't so strange. Not the one that I found. I think there's a lot of strange places and people in Hollywood, but basically the filmmakers, like filmmakers anywhere, they're very passionate about filmmaking, and they're just the same as they are here.
Do you like science fiction, fantasy? Do you read books like that?
No, I don't, actually. Yeah, it's not like that. And I know this kind of gets into that that area a lot, but I find that this is very gritty stuff. I find that it's very earthbound, so that it doesn't have the usual things attached to it when you think about science fiction. This isn't really. It's just a really dirty world.
Remember where you are. This is Thunderdome. Death is listening, and we'll take the first man that screams.
Prepare!
sometimes correct the script? Do you say to Miller, no, not
yeah.
that, Max could not say that?
Yeah, and any writer with this salt realizes that he's just making a piece of music or a blueprint, and that it's up to the person who has to say it to interpret it, so that you talk it over with him and usually come up with some good ideas, but it hardly ever stays the same. It's quite amazing. I don't bother to learn it, really. I mean, I read it a few times and then get your general gist of what's going on. And if I can, I try not to memorize any lines, so that when we rehearse, something has to come out. And whatever comes out is usually something fairly natural. But, and with a film of this nature, of course, it's, when I said before that George tells the story with images, you don't really need a lot of dialogue if those images are working for you.
There is no Mad Max merchandising. You could make a fortune selling the Mad Max official belt, the Mad Max bracelet, the Mad
Mel
Max
Gibson
bag.
doll,
Yeah. Why
put
don't
little
you
black
do
cars. I don't think there's as much merchandising in a lot of films as people imagine, and it seems to be out of character with a lot of things about the film. I think that around the world the film's been perceived as having some form of sort of filmic integrity and all of those things. It would be a shame in a way to spoil a lot of that. That's not to say that you wouldn't merchandise a lot of things out of it, but I'm just not sure that our primary audience would be interested in buying Mel Gibson dolls. I hope they would.
We love you, Mel. Oh, yes, we do. We love you, Mel, and we'll be true. When you're not near us, we're blue. Oh, Mr. Gibson, we love you.
I'm going to take a break. I have to air out, you see. I've been working too hard. So you can't just see that beneath this cool exterior is the soul of a tortured human being, and I have to take a holiday, because you have to try something else, and then come back maybe in a year or two, and with a new resource, with a new energy.
Go back to theater, maybe?
Yeah, possibly, but not at least for a year. I'd like to try something else.
After the Michael Jackson and the Prince years, this is going to be the Tina Turner year.
Well, yeah, I think so.
There's some stupid guy in the street who say, hey, Max, when they see you...
Oh, yeah. Say hello.
I don't like the rest days, because it makes you feel like you want more rest.
We'll be back, friends. We'll be back.
Was it good for you?